extra minute for it to load. I was like, oh no, did we do something wrong? But we are.
Well, I can try to warn you, I'm the least tech savvy person, so it looks like we're in business right now, though.
There's two of us that aren't tech savvy. Perfect.
And then I'm hoping you're also in your sweatpants because that's what I've brought to
I'm
this.
always sweatpants. That's team always, honestly.
Perfect.
I'm Brooke. I own Bloom Chiropractic, and you had sent me an email a while ago, which is how we linked up. And I was really glad that you reached out because your message is near and dear to my heart. So, to get the ball rolling, I wanted to ask you to tell me a little bit more about you yourself, the person that run this organization.
Yeah, so I'm Caitlin, and then Brooke, let me know if if I'm getting if I'm cutting in and out or anything like that. Because
You're
on
perfect.
my, it sounds okay right now,
Yeah,
so I guess we'll see. Yeah, I'm Caitlin, and the other co-founder is Kayla. So if anybody ever meets us anytime soon, that's who the other part of this that you'll meet. But I'm Caitlin, and so a little bit about me that kind of relates right into why Kayla and I started this organization is
mhm.
because this was before I got married, before I had my kids, before any of that. I was in a relationship that was not good whatsoever, and so my mental state was at an all-time low, and I was kind of at the point in this last year where I was ready to kind of start talking about it with other people so that they could feel supported and
Mhm.
comforted and know that they were not alone if that happened to them. And the craziest thing about it was that while I was on this journey of starting to kind of start thinking about telling my story a little bit more, Kayla was also in the mix of a mom that she had known
Mhm.
had passed away, and it was due to her mental health at the time. And
Wow.
I also knew two moms who also have passed away due to their mental health as well. And so me wanting to kind of start sharing my story, us having known multiple moms within months of each other, having
Mhm.
passed on, we decided, okay, we are ready to do something more about maternal health in our community.
Absolutely.
So that, yeah, that's kind of where we're like, we're doing something about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, and it is so important to have those sources of support. I think it's more common than people think to have been in those bad relationships, come out of them, and it is really hard to talk about. And when you are ready to talk about it's it's not something that you can do overnight, right? And so to be able to do that, that's really brave. And then also on the other standpoint, moms who have struggled with their mental health, like you were saying. I recently took a class on supporting moms, the things that moms go through, and some of the stories that the proctor of the class told were just heartbreaking. There's so many different aspects and avenues of perinatal mental health that people experience. Some experiences are more dire than others.
Right.
They're important and they all matter. So I'm so glad that you guys created the group that you and uh, decided to team up to do that. Can you tell anybody who's watching a little bit about the goals that you have for the group, and maybe the ways that you plan to achieve some community surrounding the community?
Yeah. So both Kayla and I are kind of idea people. So as soon as we get an idea, and our spouses are so sick of us because of this, but it's like it's just go. So our overall mission is to really raise awareness for things like postpartum depression and maternal suicides. That being said, when we first started partnering and talking to other organizations that have been existing for a while, or nonprofits that have already been on, boots on the ground for a long time, we were just blown away with the conversations that we had. And so that from us wanting to just simply raise awareness for those major things that impacted us so much, it kind of turned into, so we really want to hone in on, of course, raising awareness for those things
Yeah.
still, but we really want to specialize or really attack physical, emotional, social, and mental health. So those are our four pillars that we are really, really honing in on. And so so everything through our organization is free. So we host by the end of the year, we'll have about 40 different events or meetups that we will have offered to.
calendar. That's super cool.
Yeah, completely overwhelming, but no, but
A
it's
lot of
very.
on your part.
But the coolest thing about it is everybody. So we have guest speakers at all of our yoga and all of our outdoor or together outdoor events as well. Everyone who even Michelle, who does all of our yoga every other month, all of our guest speakers, all of the time, all of the space, all the talent, it's all been donated. So that's the most incredible thing, that we had this idea and the community was immediately so responsive and wanting to be on board, wanting to be a part of it. So everything has been donated to us for this entire year, which is beyond cool.
So cool.
So yeah, so those are our main things. And so at every single one of those, we started the Together Outdoors because scientific evidence shows that when you spend time outside, it's a mood booster. And
Absolutely.
those are all also kid friendly, so that if moms can't find care for their child, no big deal. They can still come and socialize, be outside, bond with their kids, bond with other moms who are there. And then we have actual just play date meetups, and we actually have one tomorrow morning
Oh,
if
nice.
anybody's interested. 9 a.m. Yeah. And those are again outside. And when it gets colder, those can move inside. But for now, as the weather is, they're all outside. Obviously, kid friendly. It's a time to socialize again, bond with your child, with other moms, and all of our other events are kind of more like special events. Since we have like Latin dancing
So
and line dance, yeah, we'll have a
fun.
luxury. I know. It honestly has been very hilarious. Some of these things.
Laugh at yourself. I mean, honestly, it's the best method, right?
That's the funniest thing is like for our Latin dancing that we just had, that our instructor Michael, first of all, one of the coolest guys on the planet, but we one of the moms who she had brought her one of her teenage sons to come
Oh,
participate as well, and he was so
cool.
respectful. Yes, he was so respectful. He was so nice. And at the end of our events, we like to say if anybody has a challenge that they're going through, or if they have a win that they are going through, that we can kind of uplift them or encourage them. And so that mom at that event said that her win for the week was that her son came and did the Latin dance with
Cool.
her, which we're like, oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
And then another mom who was there, she had just recently found out something medical. And so she was just kind of talking with us about it, just saying that that was her challenge for the week. And anyways, it turned into everyone getting together for a big hug circle. And I know, like just kind and just warm. And it was just so nice. And then we had Kelly, who has already been our guest speaker, and she's from Restore Physical Therapy. But she was just saying how there's scientific evidence showing how what like if receiving a hug does for you, as a mood.
Yeah.
So we've had all these incredible moments, and that's why we want moms to come to these things and know that they are still a whole person outside of being a mom. They have their own likes and dislikes and things that they want to experience still. And we want them to know that they have that with this group. They have resources. We can connect them to many, many people. Obviously, you guys are on that list as well. And yeah, that's been really important for us to be able to help moms know that they still have a purpose. And finding that purpose is so important for your mental health.
I 100% agree. What barriers? We talked about some of the amazing, really cool things that happened so far, but what barriers do you feel like you've had to overcome as you started this organization?
I have to say, we've been really fortunate that we haven't had a whole lot of
That's
hiccups and barriers so
awesome.
far. I would say the biggest barrier that, because Kayla has 4 children and I have 2,
Wow.
and it turns out there's only so much time in a day. That's what we're learning. And so our next thing that we need to check off is officially filing for our 501c3, our nonprofit. And so that's our next kind of big hurdle. But in general, as far as just getting the organization started up and running and moving, very thankful we have not had any huge issues so
That's,
far.
and like you said, there's so many hours in the day. I think our first email back and forth at like 10 p.m. So
I know.
on that.
Well, that's when what our creative juices are
Yeah.
at, like heightened moments.
Kids are down, right? So
I know. The amount of people I sometimes if I'm texting someone late at night, I'm like, sorry, late text alert, but it's like, that's our time. That is our time to shine as a mom,
that for me, or like 5 a.m. and there's nothing in between where I'm not busy. So I feel like I send texts at 5 a.m. and 10 p.m. And I'm sorry if you get one in that time. So,
Yeah,
you
my apologies, but
know,
this is when you get me. I know it, but I mean, that's obviously, that's one of those like very relatable things that when mom, your plate is so full, and,
mhm.
there's all this kind of misunderstanding too about moms who are stay-at-home moms.
Yes.
And that was one of the reasons too why we started this, because we kept seeing all the time that stay-at-home moms are just, they feel so lonely. They are having a hard time finding friends. And actually not just them, moms in general. But specifically we were seeing that they were they're kind of feeling very lonely.
It is a little
And
more isolating, to be honest. If you're at work, you're at around other individuals, even if they get it in the same way, you're still around people.
right, right. And so so Kayla and I are essentially are both stay-at-home. Obviously we work on these odd hours of the day. But that's kind of one of those things that we really, there are specific communities of moms too that we really want to kind of bring them in and give them some hugs too, because if they are in that kind of treading water time of life where you're just absolutely, you're fatigued, you're overwhelmed, you're not going it, you feel like you're not going anywhere. We just want to we want to find you, and we want you to know that you're included, that you can come, and this is a safe, inclusive space for you to meet people. And so that's one of our big ones too, is that there's so many just like really interesting pockets of moms too, like moms who foster, moms who adopt, moms who are stay at home, all of these different facets of what a mom can look like. And so that's where we're kind of at too, is making sure that we are reaching any and all moms,
Mhm.
really. I mean, and that's a lot. I mean,
And there's different types of communities, like you said too. Like I know for there's every different type of interest area and work. I own a business. I'm a mom. That's different
mhm,
too. Like you'll know as you run a nonprofit, right? There's you put all of your creativity into it when you, but when you're with your, it's a little different, right? So yeah.
yes, that's so true. That pocket of women too, like um, I just saw today this mom that I know. It'll essentially be her baby's first time going to daycare. She's be able to like have her go to work with her and stuff during this time, but she'll start daycare, and that is challenging. That's so challenging, and so I see that frequently too. That moms,
It
when they're
is. And it's hard to find a provider that you feel really good about and trust. We're really lucky we love our provider, but I know before we sent, people would just say things that were pretty off the cuff, but could be, like a little bit offensive almost. Like, how could you send your kid here? Or how could you, like, to an in-home? We send our kid to an in-home. How could you send your kid to an in-home? Or like, uh, just how could you leave your baby or so
yeah,
at the end of the day you're like, well, women do it all the time
no,
as much as I didn't have to in
yeah,
order to continue my work and all that's something that I do.
yes, and that balance though, that's one of those things too. It's why we want moms to have this purpose, because one of your purposes, one of your passions in life is being able to help others through with their mental health. It's vital. It's so important. So one of those things that you have to kind of balance with that is having your child go to care. And it's one of those things that of course, that's a hard decision to make. So yes, we want all moms to know that the decisions you're making, we know you're you're making them with having to balance all of everything. That's so hard. That is so incredibly hard to do that. I get it. It's so easy to it's that's why when with stay-at-home moms, why there's all this yeah, misunderstanding around it, that I said, moms just they're just home with their kids all
It's
day. And it's like that's not what life
so
looks
much
like.
more than that. And I actually think stay-at-home moms have it so much harder because you never get a break, right? Even if you do, it's really short-lived. I was only home for about 2 months on maternity. I love my kids so, so much, but I was so ready to go back to work. And I had a hard time carrying that load.
Yeah.
Even loving my kids so much, it's hard. all of that load on yourself. Or and you have a partner, right? But it just feels different when you're starting.
And it 100%, 100%. And so one of the things that one of the initiatives that we are doing is so we actually partnered with an organization called The Beacon.
Hmm.
And so if people aren't familiar with who they are, they're essentially trying to kind of end the cycle of trauma for women and moms. And so it's very cool organization. So if anyone hasn't heard of them, just do a quick Google search, The Beacon in Des Moines. They're doing amazing work in the community. So one of our goals is to, ooh, can you
I
see
don't
this?
know what happened there, but I'm here for it.
I love it. Even if like sometimes it does like that with a thumbs up, but it never does
I
when I
love
want
that.
it. But one of our goals is to collect 500 non-perishable items for the Beacon this year. And we are really trying to let moms know that we cannot do that without them. So all moms, all attendees who come to our events throughout the year, it's not mandatory, but it's just encouraged to bring a non-perishable so we can donate that back. And we just feel so strongly that when you're able to give,
Hmm.
you get so much more. So it's like even though you feel like you're, giving parts of yourself to if you're volunteering or to your kids, whatever, but that giving we feel comes back to giving more to your whole self. And so we really, really try to tell moms like there's no way we could even accomplish this mission without them. So we're hoping that we're giving them some kind of purpose that they know that every time they bring a can or whatever the non-perishable is, that they immediately just positively impacted another mom or woman from the Beacon. So that's kind of one of the things that we've done this year. But of course, we have 57 more initiatives that we want to do along
Always.
those lines. Start somewhere.
Oh yeah, I can relate to that. When you were like, we have ideas and we run with them. Like, same. I feel you on that. So there we go. Um, it seems like you have a good mix of different types of events. So movement-based events, more of those conversational, social events, events with the kiddos. What you mentioned each type. Is there specific reason why you've chosen those four pillars?
Yeah, it kind of just came through like all of those or all of those conversations that we were having with other organizations. And so we just kind of realized that neither of us are, clinical psychologists or whatever. So we can't overstep certain bounds in conversations with moms. We can't offer these kinds of advice and things like that. But we did think, okay, we can impact positively emotionally for moms, physically, socially, and mentally by providing these kinds of things. And it kind of just so happened that the community kind of planned all these events for us essentially because we had one day we just posted, hey, who would be willing to donate their time to such and such, and people just reached out that yeah, that they could teach the salsa dancing or they could do the whatever, and so we're like, okay, that sounds great to us. Put it on
Yeah,
the calendar. So these are all things that yes, it's like after we had our line dancing, it was just so cool because some of the moms like it was on their bucket list to go to a line dancing class, and so they got to kind of experience that and something that they wouldn't normally get to do because of cost or location or because they have their kids or whatever. So yeah, kind of our pillars just came about through these conversations, through the community and what they volunteered to us, and we kind of just realized, okay, these are the four things that I think that we could, or Kayla and I really thought that we could impact the most.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, looking at my next question. Oh, what events do you feel like have the best turnout for you or have so far?
Yeah, so we have, as of Saturday, is that our last hike? We have had 6 events.
Cool.
And so, yeah, so we just started in December. So we've had 6 events altogether. By the end of the year, it'll be yeah, around that 40, 40
Hmm.
mark.
It's a big
But
jump, huge.
no, but we're like, whatever, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
But the most we've had, we had our Moms and Mocktails event in December. That was our first event. And we had about 40 people go to that, which
Wow.
we do
That's
any
a
event. Yeah, we were excited that anybody
yeah.
came because you just never know. You never
Right.
know. And so besides that event, I would say we've had our yoga, we've been able to hold that once, and that's actually coming up again on the 26th. But our we had about 22 or 25 people show up to that one. So the yoga we've had the most, and this is the kind of the time frame that we're figuring out what is going to be the attended most depending on what day it is, depending on what time it is, location. So this whole year is going to be us figuring out what times and days and locations work the best for most people to be able to get to. So the yoga is at Eastside Library, and that's a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. So that one's had the most traction so far. And the one that we have coming up on the 26th, she was my doula and for my second baby, and she's actually going to come. So we have our yoga is about 45 minutes. And then after that, Megan is going to come. She's the doula who's going to come speak. And she's kind of opening up a sharing circle so moms can share about their birth traumas
That
if they would like to talk about that.
so I feel like just powerful.
Yeah.
We did breastfeeding support groups for quite a while. I had a lactation consultant come out, and I think my favorite one was the last one we had. Unfortunately, we continue them scheduling conflicts, but the last one was my favorite because it was the first time. Moms always open about their struggles with breastfeeding
Mm-hmm.
help, but it was the first time moms were really communicating about those things that happened. Like, this is what happened in labor, and this is how postpartum has been. And it was so cool to see them all connecting. So I was really bummed when we ended up having to postpone those, at least for the time being. But
Yeah.
it is such an experience to hear people share about experiences and things that helped them or things that they can cope. And so
Yeah.
definitely that'll be great.
Yeah. We're just hoping that people stick around and do share, because I think one of the things that kind of prompted us to do that, or to have Megan speak on this topic, I had someone tell me recently, trying to think of what organization that was through. But anyway, she was talking to a woman who was 65, in her 60s at least, never was able to share her. Actually, she was experiencing child loss. And so she never got to talk about it. It was, hush, hush.
Mm-hmm.
And now she was in her 60s, was she able to talk about that trauma that she obviously had experienced her entire life from the moment she lost her baby till then. And so that made me so sad to know that that woman had held that to herself for so long. And
Mm-hmm.
so of course I'm immediately like, that's it. We're
Right.
sharing circle in case people want to come share, because I can't imagine having that weight on you and no one to support you in that for however many years that was, 30, 40, however many years that was for her. So anywho's, that's why we're having this. And yeah, we hope people share. And that's, I think, one of those things that we'll have that kind of sharing circle again, maybe a couple times throughout the year, just because obviously there's new moms every
Mm-hmm.
day. So that's one of those we might try to continue that one.
That'll be really cool. Yeah, I mean, people really do go through it. We have this little neighborhood group chat within my neighborhood, and a couple of gals were talking about their pregnancy because they're pregnant, and we all kind of shared a little bit about our pregnancies, and it was so interesting to me how even though they were different, everybody kind of had a little bit of like something there, whether it was in the pregnancy or the birth or postpartum, like it affects people and it can affect us differently.
Yeah.
How you go through pregnancy, how you go through birth, and how you go through pregnancy and birth, like that will impact you, especially if you have those wants and desires throughout you to have birth, to go through birth a certain way. If it doesn't go that way, how it can impact term.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Personally, I never thought I'd experience it, but I had hyperemesis when I was pregnant. And I threw a lot, and I had to go to the hospital and get IVs. And, like, just knowing that everybody thinks that pregnancy is this beautiful thing, and for me, it was terrible. It was so depressing, and I was like, okay. And then you love being a mom, so you want to do it again, but you're kind of scared. You have like this postpartum PTSD almost. So I do share about that with people because I never expected that. And then, you're going through, and what I think is cool about your organization, uplifting, right? Because when I was going through, people didn't know how severe things were for me, but they would say things like, if you think it's bad now, wait until you have the baby, not knowing, like not knowing anything about what I was really experiencing. But you know how people are. Oh, you think you're tired now? Wait until you have the baby. Like, I'll take that over puking 10 times a day. But, you know,
So funny you just brought that up. So Brittany from Union New Point just came at our. We haven't posted these videos yet, but she just came and did our speaking engagement at our hike that we just had.
hmm
Asking her what are some, because she was talking about postpartum mental health, and we were saying what are some things that you hear from moms that are helpful things to say to them or not helpful things. And one of the things she kind of said was along those lines of like when moms are having the baby or
yeah.
afterwards, people are always just like, ah, you're fine. Ah,
Yeah.
you'll get over it. Kind of those kinds of passive
hmm
statements. And we're like, actually, I'm struggling over here.
Or even comparing traumas and like what you're going through to what someone else is going through. Even if you went through something and it was really severe, that doesn't mean what someone else is going through isn't also important, or at least important to them.
Yeah,
I mean, it should be important to you if it is important to them, right?
I
So
know.
rather than making things a competition, which they're not, why don't we focus on like uplifting the person in general? Yeah.
Or maybe even just actually listening to their entire thing that they have to say instead of, it's just so quick. I've only had two babies, but after both of them, people are always like, they're so excited to see baby. And Brittany kind of talked about this too, but it's like, ask how the mom is.
Right.
What? She's not fine. If that's
Mhm. Even
so,
if she says she is, like, let's dig a little bit. Are you?
because she's going through it no
Yeah.
matter what. Because like I felt after I had my first baby, and she was a natural childbirth, which is what we were going for. Very lucky that it happened like that because my second one was the exact opposite.
Mhm.
But the first time around, as soon as she was out of my body, I felt like I could go for a
Yeah.
marathon. But
Oh, I felt. I felt so much better.
yes, yes, I'm like, yeah, like you could drink again, you could eat, like you could feel like
Mhm.
you're in your own body again. But I didn't realize all the healing that was going on inside because I felt so good. So it's those kinds of things that it's like, yeah, I felt great, but I absolutely was healing from a
Right.
huge trauma that my body just went through.
I think I read you have a wound the size of a dinner plate.
That's wild, you know?
hmm
I mean, so it's those kinds of things. It's like allow a mom to say how she's feeling,
mm
and the passive comments, we don't need it.
Right.
Actually, like dive in with us a little bit and pay attention to us for a second because, of course, our babies are cute, but we're still cute too, you know?
Absolutely. Yes. Bring that into the postpartum every time.
Yes, yes. Tell me I'm cute.
How can moms in the community get involved in your organization?
Yeah, so we would love that. So we haven't completely enacted this yet. This will probably be a next year thing that we're doing, but the more moms that are a part of what we're doing, the better, obviously. But at a certain point here, we would love to do kind of like with moms giving back, like I kind of talked about earlier. We would love to have almost like a sign up or an application kind of thing where if moms need a little bit of extra help, like let's say they're a single mom or let's say their spouse is out of town or whatever, and they need help with getting their lawn mowed or whatever the help would be. Essentially, you can a mom who is a part of the organization can sign up and say, "Oh, I'll go do that thing for so and so," kind of thing. So
Yes.
yeah, yeah. So eventually, we kind of want to have this big. Whoever can will eventually can volunteer with us and through us as well.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of a little, not super far down the road, but a little down the road. But in the meantime, yeah, moms can just get involved and come to all the events. You have nearly 40 that you can choose from. If you can't make it to one, there's two more that month that you can make it to. And you can see all our whole calendar is, Kayla just got it pinned to the top of our Facebook page. So you can just find us at Together Moms Supporting Moms. And so we have a Facebook and Instagram. And eventually here, when we get our website up and running, we'll have a kind of community resource guide. So moms, like if they need, whatever it is, they can just go right to our website and find the service or whatever that it is. And hopefully that's kind of like just like a quicker way for them to be able to access or find resources. Ideally, Kayla and I kind of want to be a bridge from all these resources that are doing amazing things in the community, so moms can have a one hub to just find what they're looking for, kind of thing.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really great idea, especially for like you could do it for any type of business. You could do it for like health services, like you mentioned, like lawn care, or some of those things that it's important to have, and it's helpful to have resources for postpartum, especially when you are postpartum, like meal services like that maybe people don't think about, but that are nice to have and have available.
Yeah, yes. I feel like I had a mom one time I had seen, she was just, and I think like one of the reasons why we thought of this, why I specifically thought of the lawn mowing, for example, but a mom I had seen once, she was mowing and obviously she needed help. She had her little one out there with her. And I was like, oh man, I wish I could do more to help her because I have my own little one. I was like, I wish I could do more to help her. But in that instance, if she had needed that help, she could have just contacted her organization. Is like, can anyone volunteer to help me do this today? And then we have a whole list of moms who wanted to be, in the volunteer project with us,
Yeah.
and can go and help her with that. So
Cool.
it's just all the struggles that moms go through, and dads do too. We're here
Mhm.
for dads too. That'll be a different initiative we're doing down the road because like
That's
stay dads, they need help too. But um, it's like all the things that are just weighing on us or on our minds all day long. It's like if we can just help each other a little bit here and there, give us a little bit of a reprieve, give us a little bit of a break, and just knowing that there are people who are can and everything again through our organization is free. So like anything that someone would access through us would be a free thing that they have this. We're just hoping that that's a proactive way to start reducing postpartum depression, maternal suicides, and all sorts of issues in the maternal healthcare field that Iowa has. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, and I like that you mentioned dads too, because dads do go through it as well, and men struggle to form those deeper bonds. So that'll be a really cool project initiative. You guys do get down to do. Um, next question I had was, um, so we kind of mentioned a little bit, I think the last one. How can moms in the community best support the work you're doing, the impact you're making?
Yeah, so best ways to support is I would say like and share all of our posts, all of our social media, and if you are a mom who we reach out to partner with, feel free to take our calls, email us back or whatever. And actually, everybody has so far, which is so cool, obviously. But we are literally trying to partner with everyone who works or serves moms in the community. So, our list is miles long of people who are eventually will reach out to. So that's one way. Or if you know someone who is actively looking to partner with a group like us, you can send their information our way as well. So essentially in these initial stages that we're in, I would say best ways to support would be, yes, if you know someone who's a mom looking for friendship or inclusivity or things to do, just in general, send them our way. Because this is we haven't done a lot of talking on this yet, but when we say moms, we're talking about a mom who either like had the baby themselves, fosters, adopt. You happen to fall into place of being the caretaker. I mean, there's so many ways to become a mom, and so our organization, we love all of you. Doesn't matter how you became a mom, you are a mom. So so spread the word to all the moms that you know that we exist. Again, everything that we have is free. We have outdoor stuff, we have indoor stuff, we have all kinds of events that we have going on. So those would be the best ways to support us now, is just letting moms know that we exist and we are here to support them.
Awesome. And then the last, how can we find more of you? I know your Facebook, Instagram, sharing, but if somebody were to want to volunteer in your organization, or you mentioned that post into the top with the events, how could someone find more of you?
Yeah, so right now, best ways to find us would be, of course, you could email us, but and that is just together.msm@gmail.com. And so if you have like a fun idea of something that we could partner up with whomever with, or a space that you want to donate or whatever the case is, that's our email if you have any ideas or ways you want to be a part of what we're doing. And otherwise, yes, Facebook, Instagram, best ways to contact us for the time being, but stay tuned because eventually we will have a website as well. That is in the works. That's a little bit of a down the road thing because again, not super tech savvy, and that's something Kayla and I are gonna have to create on our own.
Takes
So
time. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure to build a website. So understandable. What are you looking forward to the most in the next couple with your organization? And that's the last one I have for you too.
yeah. So I would say we just had kickboxing.
That
So
looked cool.
it was very
I
cool. I
kept
was.
you guys before I like dive.
Yeah, I think so. Tiffany is the one who hosts that. She runs Farrell's in Altoona. But if we have that again with her, it was so good. Definitely have to come. I was so sore, like in a good way, in my shoulders and stuff. The next day, I was like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, I really did some work at the."
I know. It was crazy. I've done one kickboxing class in my whole life, and I was so sore afterwards. I used to live in Minneapolis, and they had this place 9 rounds. I think there's one in the metro, or there used to be. But yeah, I was like not expecting it. I wanted to learn more of like the self-defense aspect of it, and
Yeah,
that was not what it was. It was like hard cardio. I was like, okay, here we go. Not what I
I know.
expected.
I'm trying to get my leg up there too. You're too,
Yeah,
you know. And I was, when's the last time my hips, like
bet.
leg, has been up here? One leg attached to the floor, the other one here, you know? But it was super cool. But then, so Tiffany actually kind of opened the floor to share afterwards, and it was such a good conversation. I wish we would have taped the whole thing because then it was just so good for moms to hear her story. And I think we're gonna have her try to come speak at one of our things because it's just her story is so good. Oh my God. I don't want to give anything away because I think we are going to have her talk at some point. But, anyways, that's probably the thing that I'm most looking forward to with all of these meetups, with all this time spent with mom business owners, with these conversations I'm having, obviously, with YouTube, Brooke, but like all these conversations that are circulating at all these events with everyone, they're just they just fill your cup, your little happiness cup of like getting off of your screen and being with people and having these actual and real time interpersonal connections with somebody else, you really truly cannot beat that. You really cannot. And so I think that's what I'm probably looking forward to the most, are all the conversations that we're going to be able to have and then share back out with other moms too. That's something that really fills my little happiness cup.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for letting me chat with you today. Again, this is so near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
Having been somebody who has that perinatal and postpartum depression, I had postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. So it was a lot of fun afterwards. But it's so important to be able to talk about that with people because I think so often in the day to day, you're expected to just go and perform and be the person you need to be in people, and then you go home just completely drained or
Yep.
over it. And so I do think that the work is so important, and I think that having those conversations and having other moms there that are supportive and understand and have been through the same thing or a similar thing, yeah, that's just so valuable. And thank you for the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
And
Back at you, girl.
have a great
Yeah.
rest of your night. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Bye.